House Oversight, House Judiciary, Congressman Andy Biggs. Okay, Congressman, it's good to have you on the show. Merry Christmas to you. This is a significant development, this area of investigation for the House impeachment probe. Here's the allegation that the president and his family buried overseas profits that they earned, tens of millions of dollars, that they were, the White House narrative is that these are just loans. They were loaning each other money. The White House has insisted this is all kosher. That's the narrative, that the money sloshing around was just loans, not profits from overseas. But we got this breaking news. R-Ariz whistleblowers Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, they just testified to Ways and Means. They can't find any records for these loans. They could not even verify the loans actually existed. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the way to think about that. They couldn't find evidence of loans at all. Then you also have bank examiners and auditors saying we can't find any evidence of loans or where this money even came from. It blows a hole in their narrative, and that's one way they were laundering their money, by claiming it was loans. And quite frankly, that ultimately is why you end up with evasion of taxes paid as well. So you've got corruption, evasion of taxes going on, and they've lied to the American public and they've lied to us, which is why we need to get to the bottom of this even more.
You know, Congressman, the Biden White House rejected House Oversight Chair Comer's demand to release financial documents to pack up these supposed loans. I mean, but IRS whistleblowers Shapley and Ziegler, they're both veteran IRS criminal investigators. They've been investigating, along with the Justice Department, Hunter Biden's tax evasion charges and gun charges. For them to come out and say this and testify that, wait a second, this is a red flag. The Biden White House keeps saying, oh, these are just loans, but there's no records. So, again and again, you see the White House narrative falling down here.
That's exactly right. And I would say one thing about these whistleblowers: they have been consistent in their testimony, even though they've been punched at, they've been slandered and libeled, but they've been consistent in telling their story. And they've talked about the impediments that were laid down by the Department of Justice as they were investigating. And they've been very solid, and they've come back and answered every question, and they've answered it consistently. I think their veracity should be believed, and I would tell you this: what they have done is they've done a great service for this country, because they've helped reveal not just what's went on with the Biden family, what they've hid, but also the corruption or imposition of the DOJ into this particular investigation.
Having covered the IRS for years, it's rare to see any IRS official speak out. We haven't seen this in decades. We don't see IRS, certainly veteran criminal investigators, speaking out. So they're standing up. They're taking a stand. They're saying, wait a second, what we see, there's something wrong here. And then on top of that, you got banks red flagging to the Treasury Biden family transactions for things like suspected money laundering and more. So, is House Oversight, are you guys finding any bank records whatsoever showing that, yes, that President Joe Biden, that $40,000 check, for example, in September 2017, they say that was a loan, right? That was money coming in from James Biden. Any records supporting that?
No, we have found nothing supporting that this was a loan. What we have found is that some of these, like the transaction you just mentioned, everything that we saw when the start of that is, all the timing that goes through the records, it's a single transaction to a single bank account that didn't have anything else until millions hit that bank account. And then you can actually trace that money from that bank account to Owasco and various other Hunter Biden and Biden family accounts until it gets filtered right to James and Sarah Biden and rolls out through them to Joe Biden. I mean, you can actually trace that temporally and by the records of the bank transactions themselves.
I mean, this is classic layering. Yes, classic layering. I mean, you look at the numbers and what's going on in the impeachment probe. I mean, the Democrats keep ignoring and dodging and not answering, about emails, text messages, bank records, White House visitor logs, more and more. They're not addressing the evidence that's coming up about this. Final word.
Yeah, that's because they want us to produce somebody who actually slipped an envelope full of cash across the table to Joe Biden. That doesn't happen in sophisticated money laundering operations like the Biden family was operating on. That's the truth, and we got it.
Congressman Biggs, Merry Christmas again to you. Thanks for joining us.